What's going on, YouTube? My name is Mr. Crippled, and today I'm going to be bringing you the Susano guide. Now, before I get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like any of my content, I'll be leaving a link to my Discord and my Twitch in the description below. Now, this video is going to be a little bit longer. Susano is one of those like a medium god to pick up, but a very difficult one to master. He's been this way since Smite 1. And the change to his passive made him even more difficult to play as. So I wanted to go ahead and drop a video on him. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's talk about his passive. Now, basically, what his passive is saying is that every single time after you cast an ability, your basic attacks will add a debuff to the enemy, right? 1 to 2 stacks, they get reduced strength. 3 to 4 stacks, they are slowed, and then 5 to 6 stacks. They take 10% additional damage. This is very important. This god is an auto cancel god, which I'll go over when I'm talking about one of his abilities. But basically, after you cast an ability, you want to get in as many autos as possible, which can be really difficult for a character that's completely not only based on abilities, but when it comes to team fighting and how quickly you can kill the backline. So understanding how to auto cancel and where to auto cancel with this character can be very, very difficult. Now you can get away without auto canceling at him and kind of ignore his passive, but you're going to lose out on a lot of damage, and in some cases you'll lose out on a 100 to 0. So as you're casting abilities, and I'll show you how to auto cancel with this character on controller, keep this passive in mind. Now, like I said before, I like to go over his abilities in terms of importance. His least important ability, while also still being extremely important, is his 2. His 2 is basically a pull. If you get them in the center of your ability, you pull back any enemy god that's in the center of it, dealing physical damage. It's pretty straightforward. Probably one of his best get over here tools, and probably one of his best harassment tools as well. But this is pretty straightforward. You're really not going to be leveling into this ability too much. You're probably just going to get it once and then forget about it until you're forced to put points into this. But this ability can be... this ability and knowing when to use it is going to be very detrimental to a Susano player. And as usual, I'm going to go ahead and go over what the ability looks like and how you're supposed to be using it. Now, it is a pretty decently AoE. You can hit other targets that are around the main one that you're trying to pull. But you really do want to be hitting on the center of this cone. They'll still take damage if they're on the outside, but this is where you want to do it at. It has a pretty decent pull range, so don't be afraid to kind of just throw this out, trying to get them to drag somebody to you. Just be careful who you're dragging, because, you know, if you're in front of the tank and they have CC like Ymir, you want to try to avoid pulling the tank closer to you. So be careful where you're placing this ability, but it does go pretty decently far and drags them from a pretty far distance. However, if you look, it is on a fairly long cooldown, so cooldowns are going to be essential to this character. But that's basically the showcase of this ability. Now I want to go over his 3 jet stream. Now, between both his 1 and his 3, this is, albeit not as important as the 1, but still a very difficult and challenging ability to use. Basically, you throw this tornado. When you hit the tornado, you can teleport to the tornado's location. So if you put this, let's say, on a Neath player and it's on top of the Neath player and she backflips, the tornado will follow her, allowing you to teleport to the tornado and basically stop her from running away. So this is one of your go-to chase down moves and one of your go-to escape abilities. When to use this ability is very important, especially when it comes to his comboing abilities. And since you can activate the ability twice, you can actually get 2 stacks of Storm Edge. So knowing when to auto cancel with this is actually extremely important to his game plan. And like before, I want to go ahead and show what this ability looks like. This ability does go pretty decently far. You don't necessarily need to hit an enemy god to be able to teleport to it. As you can see, you can kind of just throw it out, and then if you activate the ability again, you'll immediately teleport to it. It's pretty quick. There's not really like a cooldown or a timer on it. You just do it, and you end up teleporting. And then, if you put it on an enemy god, they'll take tick damage, and then you can teleport to it. just keep in mind you want to try to use this time to try to get some autos in. And before you teleport, the ideal thing to do is get an auto in, teleport, and then do it again so you can get another stack of your passive. So you can essentially get 2 stacks off of this. So what you want to do, you can pull, auto, throw this, auto, teleport, auto, and now they have 3 stacks on them. So knowing when to use this ability is very crucial to Susano's game plan. And again, I'll go over more of this in depth later on when I'm trying to explain what the auto cancels are. But this 3 is going to be your go-to chase down move and your escape move. So use it accordingly and use it sparingly. And then finally, I want to talk about his Storm Katana, his go-to damage ability and the ability you're going to be leveling first and the most complicated out of the 3. So this ability has 3 different strikes. Between every single strike, you can throw an auto in. So effectively, he can get 3 stacks of his passive just off this ability here. And being able to auto cancel this is very, very difficult in high pressure situations. So understanding how to auto cancel with this character is going to be very detrimental to him, especially if you're going to be trying to main this character. But the damage scaling is, at first glance, it doesn't really look like a lot until you realize he's hitting you 3 different times. The first time for 120, the second time for 120, and the third time for 110. That's effectively hitting you for a whopping total of 360 damage base, on top of the fact that you are, you're also going to be getting slowed if you do your abilities correctly. You'll also be taking additional damage once you hit that 5 stacks. So in reality, this move can hit upwards of 420 to even 500 damage if you do everything properly. And it is very integral to his hit. This can also be a very decent run move if used in conjunction with his 3. You get distance. You spam the first 2 abilities of this, cast your 3, and then teleport to your 3, and then finish casting your 1, which again is very, very complicated. I do recommend going into jungle practice and practicing with this character just to be able to get the auto cancels down. Because if you don't have them down, you're going to be struggling at higher ends of play. Alright, and I want to go ahead and go over stability. Now, I'm not going to show the auto cancel quite yet. I'm just going to go ahead and show you what the ability looks like. So the first cone is this right here. If you press it again, you'll get this little circle. You do that, and then you press it again, and you press 1. They did make the auto cancel a little bit simpler now, because now you have to press the ability button again to be able to activate the next part of the string. But basically, you're gonna, to put it in simple ways, if you're looking at my controller, you're gonna press X R2, X R2, X R2, right? And when you're trying to get the auto cancel down, you're gonna add in an extra R2 between it. So you're gonna do. What you're gonna do X R2 R2 X, R2 R2 X R2. It's very annoying to get down, and it can be very daunting at first. Now you can just spam it and just do it that way, but as you can see, you're gonna lose out on a stack of your ability. So again, getting the auto cancels down between this is going to be very crucial to mastering this character. Now, as you can see, the dash, really you don't need to hit the 3rd ability off the dash. You mostly want to hit it off the first 2. That way you can get those stacks. And then the 3rd stack is just kind of like, it's just fluff, honestly. And there's an easier way to get all the stacks if you're going in with your ultimate, which I'll go over here in a moment. But this ability is very integral. As you can see, I haven't really built any items, and the bot, Guardian bot, is still taking a lot of damage just from this ability alone. So you can imagine how much damage you're going to be pumping out once you actually get abilities, once you actually get cards on. So the last thing I do want to talk about is his ultimate, Typhoon. Basically summoning a giant tornado. It does take damage as it's getting larger. And it will do more damage the longer you let it cast before you fully release it. You can quick cast this ability and just do base damage. However, in most cases, you want to try to let this ability charge up as fast as possible. Mostly because you get more damage, you get a knockup, and it goes farther. So and it adds a slow. Actually, it used to add a slow. They must have changed it. So it used to add a slow. Now, because they added the slow to the stacks, it's going to be very important that you get the slow going before you cast this ability. So hitting the 2, hitting the 3 autos, and then casting the ult to make sure you get that massive slow on top of this. But you do want to try to get this ability at max before trying to cast it. And then finally, I'm going to go ahead and go over the ult. Now, it is pretty large. And then, like I said, you can cast it and instantly throw it. But you really want to have this as maxed out as possible. So, what you want to do is, you kind of just want it to sit there for a little bit. And then cast it. And as you can see, the distance it goes is significantly farther. So fighting in a lane against this character is really scary. And this ultimate can go over walls. So you can use this as a ghetto snipe. But use this move sparingly. It is good for both a kill confirm and a engaging ultimate. So you can run into a team fight, pop the tornado, and then just let it build up as you're hitting abilities. Or you can just use all your abilities, use your tornado, and then use your tornado as a quick way to end them. But it is on a fairly long cooldown, so again, use your ability sparingly and try to be a little strategic about when you use your cast your ultimate. Now, usually by this point, I like to go over his best items and what to be building on him, but I do want to go ahead and showcase some combos that you're going to want to be doing with this character. This character is very, very combo heavy, using your abilities in quick succession, and changing the way you use your abilities. There's not really like a set way to just nuke somebody, especially when you're dealing with trying to kill the backline and trying to get out. So most cases, what you want to do is pull. Most cases, you want to pull. You want to cast your 3 immediately. Try to get 2 autos off, and then when they panic and use their run move, then you cast your 3 again to teleport to them, and then pound them down with your 1. So I'm just gonna go ahead and showcase what that looks like again. Unfortunately, I'm not a Susano. I mean, I did play him a lot in Smite 1, but he is still really, really difficult to get down. So again, you want to auto, teleport, auto. And by this point, they're dead. They already have max stacks on them. And then in some cases, you kind of want to cast your ultimate as well. So I'll go ahead and reset. So you'll do this. And in most cases, they'll be dead right about there if you have the right build. But as you can see, it still does pretty insane damage. And you get a lot of stacks off of that as well. Another combo that you can look into getting into is sometimes you want to engage with this instead. Auto, pull them back, and do that. You know, there's a lot of different combos that you can be doing, but the last thing you, in most cases, that you want to do is use your 1. If you're looking for poke, then you just want to kind of just go in. You want to throw your 3 just to poke at them. You want to like just catch your 2 and then dash away. There's a lot of different things you can do with this character. This is one of these characters that going into jungle practice is going to benefit you a lot. And there's not really a for sure way just to play this character out the gate. The only thing I recommend is going to jungle practice, get those auto cancels down, and then you're going to end up being a menace. Now is the point in the video that I want to go ahead and go over his best abilities. Now, as an assassin, in most cases, you're going to be in the jungle. That being said, Bumba's Cudgel is also a really good starter for him. Your basic attack dealing true damage, and your abilities dealing extra damage against jungle minions, making it very easy to clear. And then hitting basic attacks afterwards, after casting an ability, will actually reduce your cooldowns by 0.5 seconds. So given the fact that this character has ridiculously long cooldowns at the beginning, this is going to be very, very beneficial to him. And what it builds into is Bumba's Hammer, basically making your autos do true damage after casting an ability. So since you're going to be auto-canceling a lot with this character, this is probably going to be his best item out the jungle. You can flex with Bumba's Golden Dagger. since it does additional physical damage to enemies, and then later on when you upgrade it, you gain a strength and intelligence buff for 30 seconds, and you heal for 10% of your health and 10% of your mana. Can be really nice, does give you a nice amount of cooldowns, but I still think Bumba's Cudgel is going to be the go-to. It does only give 10 cooldown rate, but you're going to be getting a lot of cooldowns out of your main ability, out of your main items anyway. If you're not taking him into the jungle, there is ways you can flex him in solo. Bluestone Pendant is definitely a really good ability to go into. Warrior's Axe to make sure you just don't die most of the time, but in most cases, you're going to be building Bluestone Pendant or Bumba's Cudgel, and then Bumba's Golden Dagger as the matchup dictates. After that, since all of his abilities scale with strength, this is going to be your go-to. Transcendence is damn near a must on him now that it gives 10 penetration, and the fact that Susano's mana consumption is very, very bad early, so having Transcendence on can help alleviate that, especially for the late game, and then it helps him be even bigger nuke, and albeit building Transcendence also helps you not have to auto cancel as often, since it's going to be giving you a lot more power. So you don't always have to worry about auto canceling at the worst times if you're just trying to do as much damage as physically possible. Transcendence can help with that. Up next, Hydra's Lament. This paired with Bumba's Dagger is absolutely insane. Basically, what this ability does is that after casting an ability, or what this card does, after casting an ability, your next basic attack will increase by 30%, and there isn't a cooldown for this. So if you cast an ability, right? Let's say Jetstream. Since you cast this ability twice, you'll get 2 stacks of Hydra's Lament, making both those autos that you do on the initial cast and after the teleport hit extremely hard. And then you can only imagine with Storm Katana, since you'll get 3 procs of Hydra's Lament off of this. And then if you pair that with the starter that you're going to be having, this is going to be a nuke of an item. Blood Forge for an assassin is also really good, since you can just gain 10% of your max HP plus your strength as an HP shield. And then, so you can kind of just go in and do as much damage as possible. Brawlers is also really nice. Now, in most cases, since you're going to be auto-canceling a lot, you're really not going to have to worry about them healing way too much off of you, since you're going to be a nuke. But in some cases, they're getting a lot of defenses, if they're getting a lot of help, and they also have sustain, i.e. like an Anubis, this is going to help you in those cases. Yutton's Revenge, whopping 40 strength, 20 cooldown rate, and then whenever you get a kill or an assist, your non-ultimate cooldowns are reduced by 2 seconds, and your ultimate is reduced by 6 seconds. This is a must on Susano. You need this card. His cooldowns are way too long for you not to justify this card. Other than that, Heartseeker is also really nice on him. Since you'll be able to do health damage to tanks, this is going to be really useful. Crusher is nice as well. Pairs really well with the fact that he has take damage move and a lot of burst in his abilities, so getting any additional damage as much as possible is also nice. Serrated Edge, basically if you have any ability on cooldown, you gain strength and lifesteal, and this does give a whopping 10% physical or it gives a 10% penetration. Now, in Smite 1, it used to also give you movement speed, which is another reason to build this card on him. However, it's still good in its current state. It doesn't give you as much power as it used to, but it's still nice in the long run. If you're trying to troll, and you're trying to go into solo with him, Shifter's Shield, Glad Shield, Triton's Conch, those are go-tos. Void Shield is also a really nice go-to. If you are looking for more cooldowns out of solo, Breastplate of Valor, Genji's Guard, something that will just give you more cooldowns to just be more of a menace. But in most cases, even in solo, you're going to be building mostly damage, so you could basically almost really ignore that, but in most cases, you're going to be building right here. And that's going to be my Susano video. I hope this guide helped you. Again, this character is very complex, and a single video really isn't going to help you all too much, but I hope that it did give you an idea of how this character is meant to be played. If you do have any additional questions, feel free to leave comments in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to reply. If you want to keep up with any future content, I will be leaving a link to my Discord and my Twitch in the description below. Thank you all for watching. Y'all have a nice rest of your day.